Oh shoot, sorry. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today I'm joined by House of Rare, Miguel and Quinn. Thank you both for joining us. So House of Rare, Stabley's actually known for a while. We did an event with them at Consensus in Austin. Yeah, we go back a long ways. So it's quite an interesting project. It's sort of based on asset-backed NFTs. So this will be an interesting topic to sort of explore. Personally, I have limited knowledge of this area, so it's been something that I found super interesting to learn more about. And yeah, looking forward to jumping into it. Quinn, do you sort of mind telling us a bit about your project and the history?
Yeah, sure. And thanks for having us on. Yeah, House Rare is a tequila NFT business. We launched last year around November 2021. And the whole idea behind it is um, bridging the sort of digital collector and physical collector worlds. Our NFTs are digital assets, but they also represent a real world collectible asset. So, what we did is we partnered with a distillery to come out with a line of tequila for us. And as you can see in the background with Miguel there, a lot of the artwork behind him is actually designed by artists that we've partnered with for this line. Essentially, these are like tequila boxes where an artist will decorate the boxes, turn it into an art piece, and then we will scan that, digitize it, and turn it into an NFT. So then people can buy and trade and mint the NFT and hold it as a digital asset, but they can also choose to redeem it for the actual physical asset and get the bottle of tequila.
Super cool. Miguel, you're from Mexico, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here right now in Mexico City, and obviously I've been a tequila fan for all my life. So we were lucky enough to found this project last year, and it's been quite an adventure. As Quinn said, the whole premise is to explore asset-backed NFTs. The whole real life applications of NFTs. I think there's been 2 or 3 years of crazy speculative things going around NFTs, and we see a true value of real life applications of this technology. So that was the premise where we started, and I think tequila is the greatest excuse to bring that. And so yeah, I mean, we founded last year in December during Art Basel. We launched the collection. As Quinn said, it's here are some samples of what we built. Here I have a little bottle. So this is what it looks like. This is actually, hand drawn by a Mexican artist called Diana Menendez. She did a great work on all the NFTs. So what you get is the NFTs it's printed on the bottle, and whenever you come to one of our events or you meet us, you get to redeem the bottle and get the actual tequila. And I mean, obviously, and this is one topic I think we're gonna touch a bit later, but we run into a lot of issues. No, the NFT, the current NFT marketplaces and the whole ecosystem of such, it's just made for images, right? There's no real way to redeem or to give clarity to people about the real asset backing an NFT. So that's why we're getting involved in this industry, and we want to develop the technology to be able to give certainty to the people that sell the collections as well as the people that buy the collections, that there is a real asset backing it. And I mean, we're here a year after, and we're very excited of what's coming. And so that's a brief intro.
Yeah, cool. Super interesting. Thanks for the overview to both of you. I guess one question that I had and that others might have is that, in the NFT industry last year, we saw a lot of hype, a lot of projects go up a ton. A lot of it, some very cool communities, very cool projects with utility, but also just a lot of speculative art. Kind of different than what you guys are doing with asset-backed NFTs. So, could you touch a little bit more on like the NFT industry as a whole and how you guys sort of fit into that with the asset-backed NFT? And how does this actually compare to me just going and buying a bottle of tequila, well, for example?
Sure. So yeah, I think our project is a great way for people to get like introduced into NFTs, because a lot of people see NFT space and, like you said, there's tons of speculation and fluff around it, and it doesn't really make sense. It's like, why are these just JPEGs going for hundreds of thousands of dollars? And it seems a lot of people kind of dismiss it as crazy or whatever. In my view, there's sort of like a broad spectrum of NFTs. On the one end, there's purely like artistic, being the feeling of being part of a community, really speculative side, just like whatever value you choose to attribute to owning this NFT. And then on the other side, there's complete utility, and because really all an NFT says is, as a non-fungible token, it can't be copied, and it shows like a history of ownership. So something that I like to explain to people who aren't super familiar with NFTs, a really easy use case is to sell like NFTs for like tickets to an event. It means that you can see in the NFT immediately, you see the history of ownership. You know that it came from like the actual venue. You can't copy it, so it would take away a lot of like scammers and stuff like that. And that like it belongs to you. So that's like purely logistical, like not much speculation there. It's pretty straightforward. So our project meets somewhere in the middle, and I think that really helps people like wrap their head around it and find some value in the market. So there still is some artistic aspect to it. And the idea of owning that piece of art, and there's some sort of like clout and recognition to that, but also it still is backed by a real asset that you can physically use, drink, and hold, and everything. So, and the difference between just buying the bottle of tequila is with House of Rare, we're not just like a tequila brand. It's also a community of people where we have these events and promotions and like showcases with the artists and stuff. When you buy a House of Rare NFT, it also gets you access to a lot of to the events that we hold at different conferences and stuff like that, opportunities to redeem your bottle, redeem your NFT for a bottle at these events and those kind of things. And so it brings like the whole community together in a way that like I think why people like to get into collectibles in the first place. It's not just for the item, it's also to experience that with like-minded people and people who also share those interests with you. So that's sort of the benefit, or like the addition of buying a particular bottle through an NFT with House of Rare. And it also helps bring people that like traditional or digital collectors into like the tequila world and connect with the distillery. We've done some events like brought NFT holders out to the actual distillery. They got like a tour of the agave fields and everything like that. So that allows like the users to come see like where things come from, and it also helps connect the distillery to a new market that they wouldn't really have access to before. It allows the distillery to grow as well. So yeah, that's really what we're trying to create there.
And then in addition to that, obviously the tequila bottles are the first collection we launched, and now that we're looking at the whole tequila vertical, industry vertical, the NFT applications will be even more obvious, right? So for example, the next collection we're launching is tequila casks. So the idea here is that one NFT gives you ownership of one tequila cask that will be aged on our private cellar, which, owning a tequila cask in normal life would be very difficult. You will have to, get on a contract with the distiller, make sure, there's a space to age it, that it will be custodied right. So NFTs takes all that guesswork and all that legwork away from owning this asset, and then gives you the facility to sell or buy the NFT in any of the stages where the tequila ages. So tequila, it has 4 different faucets, let's call them. So first, freshly distilled is blanco, then it becomes reposado, which is the one that most people knows, the one that's a bit yellow, and then it goes into añejo and extra añejo. So the way and the really cool things about NFTs is that you can buy a Blanco tequila NFT, it will evolve into Reposado and then into Añejo, and you can sell it or buy it anytime you want. And you are participating of this, appreciation of the liquid through time. So it's, you can be in Australia, you can be in Asia, you can be anywhere in the world and participate in this beautiful process.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really cool about that, and like, because people think that, okay, I can buy the cask, the barrel, and then choose to age it, and then it becomes more valuable. It's more rare, better tequila. It's like, well, why doesn't the distillery just do it themselves? Well, in a lot of cases, most tequila is sold unaged, simply because the distilleries need the cash flow to keep producing, and they're operating on small margins, and so very little tequila is actually fully aged to like the rarest or best tequila. So connecting these collectors who might be interested in more aged, more valuable tequila as an investment or as a product with the distillery allows the distillery more options in their production line. Finding them new methods for cash flow so that they can keep producing, while the users can decide, okay, at what stage of the tequila do I actually want to age this to, or to invest in, or to enjoy?
Yeah, and is it one distillery that you're working with specifically, or multiple?
So at the beginning, we're working with a single distillery. It's a fifth generation tequila producer, very reputable family that's just embedded into the tequila town in Mexico. And the idea is down the line, to find exotic tequilas, to find things you cannot normally buy, and just start putting them on our cellar, continue the aging process, and going back to community, right? It's also a community exercise. We want people to age it as long as they want. Then we can either bottle them for them or ship the whole barrel, or we can sell it back to the producer. The idea is that and it's an open cellar, right? They can come, they can visit, we'll have events. Actually, for this collection in specific, all the House of Rare team, we're gonna be in Guadalajara, which is the closest city to tequila. And we will be hosting all the NFT holders that wanna come and see the process from field to barrel. They're welcome to come see, and they get to see the liquid being poured into their barrel and then put in the private cellar. So we're also all about that experience and showing our collectors, the whole process, teaching them how it's made.
Yeah, that's super cool, because that stood out to me is that, well, first of all, you're connecting investors or just fans tequila together and getting them that full experience throughout various community events. But additionally, the use case of me being able to invest in a cask of tequila from across the world using blockchain is massive, because investments in alcohol is quite a big market.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones that does suffer from a lack of liquidity and the logistical issues of having to purchase from across the world. So security costs, it can get stolen, it might be hard to prove ownership, just a ton of different issues. It kind of reminds me of Stably when we tokenize gold, so that people around the world can now purchase gold using blockchain to reduce costs.
Yeah.
Obviously, certain differences. For example, that's fungible compared to non-fungible, but that really stood out to me as a really big use case of House of Rare, and why this actually makes sense.
Yeah, that's. Some people call it NFT 2.0, right? It's the real life applications of the technology, and like Quinn said, it can be applied to ticketing, intellectual property, real estate, collectibles, catalogs. We had a chat with the guy from the nature department from Florida, and they want to do cataloging of new animals and plants that are discovered through NFTs, right? So that's a way that you guarantee that the discoverer gets a proper they get recognized that they discovered that species and that it gets cataloged in the right way. So the sky's the limit on the new applications for this tech.
Is this an issue having governments, etc., recognize this NFT ownership? However, is this one of the challenges of the industry?
Well, I mean, in that specific example, I don't think it's a challenge because they're just embracing the blockchain technology as something that's uh, that lives on open ledger. So it's an easy way for people to show, hey, I discovered this new kind of fish on this date, and that's when I minted the NFT, and here are the characteristics, and it just lives on the open ledger where people can check, and if someone else runs into that fish, they can check the ledger, and if it already exists, then they carry on. So there's not a lot of government involvement in this one, and it's bringing cataloging to a decentralized chain.
Yeah, I suppose I'm thinking about like in the future when, people are proving property rights using NFTs or passports or health records, etc. Because I think of those as quite big use cases that sort of that when we get there, we'll get to the point where, it's a lot more common for the average household to hold an NFT, even if they don't recognize it as such. Do you think that will be an issue, having governments, etc., recognize those in the future?
Queen.
Well, I mean, there are a few other NFT projects that are dealing with real estate or things of that nature. And really, I mean, the NFT is really just a contract. Like, they're in those cases, like the contract is sort of built into the NFT, and so as long as it is, entered into by both parties, then that's really that's really the most important thing, and the government recognizing that contract, as long as it was like agreed upon by both parties entering in the transaction, should follow with that. I mean, I'm sure there's I'm sure there will be more regulation that comes into it, especially with things like real estate. There's definitely a lot of more factors that need to be considered and ironed out. But with the soul of it just being that it represents a contract between two parties, I think that there's plenty of sort of prior established, regulation and practice based around that should be able to be built upon.
Yeah, that makes sense. That when you're doing these transactions with NFTs, you're just entering an agreement, with agreement, consideration, etc. I just hadn't really thought of it that way, so maybe that's a question of others as well.
Yeah,
but interesting. It's just a different way of thinking, I guess, about ownership, etc. So it can be a little hard to wrap one's head around. One other question I had was that, so say I buy a bottle of one of those tequilas behind Miguel, I buy the NFT of it. How do I actually take hold of that bottle of tequila? And what happens to my NFT if I drink the bottle of tequila, for example? Is this something, how are you guys sort of addressing this? And has that presented any challenges?
So, yeah, I mean, what we've done is, people can come to our events and then say like, hey, I want to redeem my NFT, and then they can get the actual bottle. You can have the bottle, and then the NFT is just an art piece. With that, there's different ways for NFTs to be like mutated or changed, and so it's like recognize that this NFT has been redeemed, right? So, you can still hold it, and it would still like mean like you're part of the community and everything, and it still is like a digital piece of art. But given that it's marked as redeemed, it wouldn't be as valuable as an unredeemed version of the NFT.
Yeah, and that's part of what we're developing, right? Current NFT protocols and marketplaces, they don't have a redeeming feature on them. So the way we're looking at it is that we want to get into that game also. We want to develop our own marketplace where people that upload collections will have different features where they can give the option to the collectors to redeem. The first one is, I get the bottle of tequila, so the NFT gets burnt and it disappears. The second one can be that the NFT gets marked, or it becomes an entity, which is a non-transferable token. So that means that the art stays in your wallet forever. It cannot be sold or transferred, but you get to keep the art. Or the third one, and it's something we're exploring with other brands of beer and cigars and stuff, is making it like a club. So as long as you own the NFT, you get maybe monthly or semester or yearly drops of real assets, right? So you thinking about limited edition beers, every month you will get a shipment of beer as long as you hold the NFT. And So those three features we really want to implement into our marketplace, along other like just asset-backed NFT things that you cannot see on actual marketplaces right now.
So, but if you were going, I mean, if an NFT issuer was going to keep giving airdrops, for example, additional beer every year that's unique, how would that fit into the business model if people aren't transferring the ownership? Because, for example, a common way to monetize NFTs is to take 5% off of every transaction, correct? Is that an issue if someone's just holding it? And if you're continuing to give airdrops? Or I guess, how does the monetization fit in here?
So in that sense, I mean, we haven't gone deep into monetization. Obviously, our marketplace will have the regular secondary market fees that you see around the industry, which is, like you said, 5%. But for the clubs, the way I think it is that depending on the longevity the collection uploader wants to give to the collection, it will mark the price. So maybe it only lasts for 2 years. You get monthly drops. So then, it has a depreciation in value through time NFT, but that's no problem, because if you want to jump in only for a year, or if the collection gets really popular, then there's like appreciation. So it's those details. I mean, the industry it's still under infancy. So we're exploring different venues, and we're open to hearing what partners want to do, and adapting to that, and bringing in the features for the collectors.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess one last question is to wrap up. I mean, if someone wants to learn more about House of Rare, or asset-backed NFTs, etc., like, what would you suggest for people who are interested but want to sort of dive deeper?
So first, I mean, visit our page, houseofrare.io. It's been refreshed. Right now, it's all about the tequila collection, but we're about to announce the tequila barrels and all the other collections we have in hand. Also, I mean, just Google NFT 2.0, right? You can find a bunch of other companies doing nothing like us, but ticketing, real estate, a bunch of stuff. So there will be a lot of material down there already. And yeah, I mean, we're building communities with these guys also. I think real estate and tickets and us, we have very similar backend technology. So we're exploring partnerships. We're seeing how we can work together just to bring the technology up to speed with what we're doing.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, that was super interesting. I hope that everyone found this as interesting as I did, sort of learning about how asset-backed NFTs, are coming into existence, actual benefits being realized. And, this isn't just like a niche little area of the market doing art and JPEGs. Like, there is real utility and stuff coming out of this. This is just one example of, purchasing, kind of a combination of art, but also investing in tequila and connecting with other investors and, fans of the industry and the sector. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we drop off?
I'm good. Thanks a lot, man. We're very excited. We can't wait to have another event with you guys and keep talking to both of our communities about what we're developing.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, and thanks for taking the time.
If anyone is interested, check out houseofrare.io. And when is your meetup in Guadalajara?
So we're going to be there the whole month of November. We will be announcing it on social media and on the main webpage soon. But I mean, whoever wants to come to Guadalajara throughout the month of November, we'll be there. We will host you, and we'll show you how tequila is made. So it's an open invitation for anyone that wants to come. There's, flights from anywhere in the US directly to Guadalajara. So see you there, guys.
Awesome. Thank you both for joining us today, and really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.